Hello everyone, it's your bud. Today we're going to be talking about Moonclaw. I'm going to be reading from the Warhammer wiki again, and then giving you my thoughts and theories. But in order to know about Moonclaw, one of the coolest beings from all of Warhammer Fantasy, from the old world of Warhammer Fantasy, you have to know what the moon in the name Moonclaw means. In the old world of Warhammer, there were two moons. One moon, Morrslieb, and then another, its green twin, Morrslieb. Morrslieb, the dark moon, is actually pure green warpstone. Warpstone is solidified warp. Warp is a chaotic and wild magic that can interact with many forms of, anything and turn it into anything else. You never know what's going to happen with Warpstone or Chaos and how it will twist a being. The creature known as Moonclaw, also known as the son of Morrslieb, the lunatic prince, and the child of the gravid orb, was not born of mortal creatures, but instead hurled from the pale belly of Morrslieb when it was at its most bloated. Though at first glance he could be mistaken for a particularly hideous beastman, Moonclaw is not of this world. Beastmen are one of the many playable races in the Warhammer game. Moonclaw is utterly and irrevocably insane, his actions as random as they are lethal. Upon the holiday, when Moonclaw came upon this world, Morrslieb hung low and full in the firmament, like a belly of a pregnant hag. The forests resounded to the orgiastic feastings of the beastmen's tribes. At the stroke of the witching hour, a blazing horned comet seared across the skies. It briefly traced a green scar across the heavens before hammering through the clouds and slamming into the sacred grove at the base of the barren hills. A wave of green-black force flattened the forest for miles around. Nothing survived the disastrous impact save Moonclaw himself, who stepped steaming from the cracked remains of an egg-shaped lump of purest warpstone, his glistening fur slicked to his body by nameless fluids. Thus did Moonclaw step from the weirdling substance of his lunar mother into the old world. Since that day, Moonclaw has wandered the lands in a daze, speaking glottal symbols in a backwards tongue. His glowing goat-slit eyes seem to see into another realm, and his erratic gestures leave doppelganger traces in the air. Whenever the beastmen witness the lambent green-black flames that lick around Moonclaw, they fall to their knees in worship. When Morrslieb is nearest the earth, Moonclaw's power waxes full. It is then that Moonclaw summons the strange two-headed beast, Umbralock, that serves as his steed, and rides at the head of a great army. On these nights, he seeks out the waystones that dot out the old world, edifices older than the race of men. Moonclaw desires nothing so much as to see these flung down and defiled, so the dark power they stem may flow out into the world. So it is that Moonclaw leads his followers against the civilized races, his twisted and mutated form crackling with a barely contained power atop his fiendish steed. Few can tolerate the waves of madness that precedes Moonclaw on these most eldritch of nights, let alone stand resolute when jagged shards of lunar rock hurtle out of the skies to annihilate any who earn Moonclaw's displeasure. Though relatively weak in magic, Moonclaw is capable of wielding both wild magic and Ulgu. He can unleash waves of insanity at his leisure, though he, already insane, is unaffected, as is his mount. Let's see here. Ulgu, I'm assuming that is beastman magic or some sort of ritual thing. Ulgu, the lore of shadows, is the grey wind of magic, and one which is the Aether's reflection of and reaction to the experience of being lost and confused. This wind, so in Warhammer there are the winds of magic, and there are different ones, so this wind is full of unseen depths, plots, shadows, and illusions. Grey wizards weave Ulgu into elaborate spells that wreathe them in its mysterious presence. This lore of shadows contains spells of darkness, invisibility, shadowy death, and panicked bewilderment. Darkness, invisibility, shadows, illusion, being lost and confused. Okay, shadowing the mind, as well as shadowing the body. Ulgu appears to those with witch sight as a thick, impenetrable fog rolling across the earth, invoking a sense of mistrust and confusion in ordinary people who pass through it. Okay, that's kind of cool. Gray magic. So, Moonclaw is one of my favorite beings in all of Warhammer, and it's probably because of this picture. It's just cool, and he's got this thing that looks like one of the Skrexis, is that his name, from Dark Crystal? You know, the big bird thing, Skeksis, I think that's its name. It looks like it's riding some sort of Skeksis ROUS mix. And then the Beastmen. The Beastmen are always one of my favorite. I think they're very misunderstood. However, Moonclaw is not misunderstood at all. He's just insane. You can't understand someone at all if they're just insane like that. But wild magic, let's see here. Wild magic its own thing as well? Wild magic, also known as the lore of the wild, is a form of magic used by the Beastmen. Okay, so mostly used through their beret shamans. Lore of beasts. Oh, it's similar to the lore of beasts. It's very distinct though, and can be perceived as a corrupted version of it. So yeah, the Beastmen are always like seen as corrupt, even though like they're just more primal. So if a wolf hunted something and killed it, would you call that corrupt just because it's a wolf being primal? So like all beastmen are just seen as like, oh yeah, they're beastmen, so that means they're all primal, so that means they're all evil. Well, a lot of them are evil and worship chaos. I can never convince myself that every single beastman is crazy, or every single beastman is just worshipping chaos. I don't know, I like the idea that the beastmen have this connection to like primal instincts and all of this stuff, but not necessarily that they like worship chaos. But then Moonclaw is the exact opposite. Moonclaw is born from Warpstone, which is pure chaos. And he like calls the moon like mother and stuff like that, and it's just, it really blurs the line between what chaos is, what's the god of a beastman. Like the beastmen worship chaos, but is chaos different than Morrslieb? Is Morrslieb like the moon? Is Morrslieb the green moon? Is that like personified chaos, or is it its own being that has its own agenda and power? And so you can never tell, because Moonclaw is so insane. It's sort of hard to tell if there's an agenda or a plan to chaos, or if chaos is just eternal primal nature and savagery. But Moonclaw is awesome. I've always loved Skaven. I've always loved vampires. I've always loved Tomb Kings. So to have this sort of like kind of ethereal, I like the description of the black-green flames that lick around Moonclaw. Like that's really cool. Like it's just the idea of Warpstone. It's like it's burning radioactive material in a magic setting. And I really like the whole thing about Moonclaw himself, who stepped steaming from the cracked remains of an egg-shaped lump of the purest Warpstone. You can imagine giant like clawed hands with like long slender talons, and like I couldn't imagine what his face looks like. You can see it's a very blurred picture. Looks like he has horns and a staff, and he's sort of more like a beret shaman. So a beret shaman of insanity and wild magic. That's really appealing to me. So I've always liked the Beastmen and the Skaven, and I think that Moonclaw is kind of a mix of the two. The Skaven are obsessed with Warpstone. They mine it like crazy, and they use it for all of their technology. And Warpstone, yeah, is sort of like radioactive gemstone, which is really cool. I made a earth magic video that I just made recently, and I was talking about crystal magic, and that's what made me think of Warpstone, and that's what led me to Moonclaw, because Moonclaw is basically pure Warpstone turned Beastman. Moonclaw is the mix between Skaven and Beastman. Well, not the mix, but the stage in between. So I absolutely love Warpstone, and I absolutely love Moonclaw as a result of it. Moonclaw is so cool. And I was really debating whether I should make this video because someone else has read through the Warhammer wiki. I mean, of course someone else has done that on YouTube, but I really liked their video and didn't just want to copy it. But Now I do have my own thoughts here on the end, so at least my video is slightly different. There's not too much to say on Moonclaw except that he is awesome. A wave of green-black magic emanating from him, green-black flames licking around him. I mean, Moonclaw is just such a cool name. And the fact that he's sort of like a crazy, insane bray shaman, speaking in glottal syllables and backwards tongue. I love the description. Yeah, but Moonclaw is one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite races in Warhammer Fantasy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave this video a like if you want me to make more Warhammer videos. A like shows me you are interested in this topic. Subscribe for daily videos. I make a new video every single day on this channel. Leave any questions or suggestions in the comments below. I always appreciate hearing any thoughts that you guys have. This was Moonclaw. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.